welcome back to Queerly, a podcast where myself, Liz, and my co-host Jacqui,
hello,
dissect, discuss, and just kind of ramble about media that is queer, that is interesting to us, and for right now anyway, that is like currently popular. So without further ado, today's topic of discussion will be Harley Quinn, the animated series, and its companion comic book, the Eat, Bang, Kill Tour series.
fair warning in terms of audio this time. We were having some technical difficulties, so there may be slightest echo, and then I have people, my upstairs neighbors are moving. So if you hear any thuds, that's what it is. I'll try my best to cut it out, but just heads up. No one's getting murdered in the background, don't worry.
You didn't come here for clean audio. Hopefully.
That's fair. Though, of course, like, spoiler warning for all of Harley Quinn TV show. Also, for later on, I'll give another spoiler warning before going into it, though they're kind of related. The Harley Quinn Eat, Bang, Kill Tour comic. Both of which we recommend you watch or read before listening to this.
Oh yeah, as always, drop this as soon as you hear us talking about it, and or even maybe before even listening, read the title and then go enjoy the media. But, you know, you do you. We're not your parents.
Yeah. Or are we? Oh, plot twist.
Oh. My parents started a podcast?
Honey, we've turned the kids into viewers.
We've turned the kids into our audience. That's how you make money. No, but Harley Quinn, the animated series on HBO Max, and the comic books that are slightly related. Well, they're fairly related.
The series, we're probably gonna end up talking more about season 3, so if you have seen season 1 and 2, then see season 3 beforehand. There's only 7 episodes out as of recording this, so it's not too long of a watch, so just
7 episodes of season 3 out. Yeah. Each season, I think, is about, I think it's 10 episodes per season.
Yeah, that makes sense if we're consistent, across seasons.
And I would say even if you're not interested in DC Comics or Batman or any of the, like, the Suicide Squad, anything like that, especially if you saw previous DC movies and did not like them, this is not that. Like all the other animated DC content, it's pretty awesome. I don't know who runs the DC animation department at Warner Brothers, but they're always on absolute point.
There was a big thud. That reminds me, I learned something about something that was cut out of the Owl episode. When we get to that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Do you want to talk about, like, maybe, like, where season 3 picks up, and, like, where the focus, and the reason why we're all here, I think, is the Harlivy plot that kind of developed throughout season 2 and is now being explored in season 3.
I mean, the word queer's in the title of the podcast, so, like,
Hey, yeah, the supervillains are gay, and we like that. It's a good thing.
Be gay, do crime.
Be gay, do crime.
So at the beginning of season 3, so we're picking up basically right after the finale of season 2, with Harley and Ivy having run off after the failed wedding on both sides of the party. So both Ivy and Kite Man they both knew what was happening at this point. It was falling apart. And they go on a bit of a honeymoon, doing crime, being gay, and then we jump into kind of the relationship between Harley and Ivy and the issues of it, which is something, like, I really like that they don't make the relationship boring as hell, and, like, give it the relationships themselves are made up of give and take and learning to grow with each other and for each other,
Mm-hmm.
And so when they're static, like, yeah, I enjoyed, like, Heartstopper, that show on Netflix, and yeah, sure, like, there are some, like, ups and downs between the main two characters' relationship in that, but it's still very, like, as heartwarming as it is, it's still very bland. So, and same with even, like, Happiest Season, yeah, there's, like, the whole drama of, like, oh, telling the family, blah, blah, it's still, like, also very bland relationship.
I mean, it helps that they're both, like, cartoon supervillains, and so some
That's
of their...
true.
Actually, I think that's a great point, is... Well, a couple things. One, we get to see a new side of both Harley and Ivy, now that they're, like, in a relationship with each other. Like, we're given the background context that they're each other's support system, like, they're each other's, for the most part, only support system, after meeting in Arkham Asylum, and, you know, we know that they're best friends. We come into the series knowing they're best friends. We know that, we spend all of season 1 watching Ivy supporting Harley in her attempt to be, like, the best villain in Gotham. And so we spend all of season 1 seeing Harley and Ivy support each other, but in a slightly different way. And what we see throughout season 2 is we know that they both love each other. I mean, it's not like Harley has a one-sided crush and Ivy's, like, so in love with Kite Man that she can't see it. Like, they basically spend the entire season saying, like, hey, this Kite Man Ivy thing is, like, on the rocks, and, like, so it's no surprise that season 2 ends the way it does. And now that we're in season 3, and this is the one thing I'm most happy about, is when season 3 was coming out, the writers basically came out and said, we're not ending Ivy. Like, we're keeping that relationship the way it is for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And so we get this amazing, very clear, promise that the relationship that they spent the first 2 seasons setting up is going to be maintained, and where the drama actually comes in, it's not the will they, won't they, or will they break up and then try to be friends. The actual conflict that we see is them working around their individual issues with each other as a unit. And so we see Ivy now, the focus is really on Ivy and her ambitions and wants as a supervillainess, as we've been watching Harley for the past 2 seasons, as she's trying to, like, basically, Harley reminds Ivy of an old project that she was working on, a place called, was it Eden?
It was Eden, with an I because of Ivy. Which, yeah.
Eden. Which was this, like, supposed to be this sort of, like, utopic paradise away from the destruction of humanity. Like, no technology, no, just Ivy's perfect world, basically. And she gets reminded of all the sort of there's like prehistoric plants and like everything, and then it gets destroyed. It gets like pretty thoroughly destroyed by, oh man, I can't even remember who it was.
It was Plastique, the Canadian eco-terrorist.
Oh yes, Plastique, the Canadian eco-terrorist, who is working for
Amanda Waller.
Yeah, we haven't heard a peep from her since that episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because she's like, I think it's just like a short cameo because she's like the whole Suicide Squad thing.
Now, that's where I disagree. And I think there's two parts of this season that we're going to see in the coming seasons. I think it's Amanda Waller, because I feel like anytime you have Amanda Waller, it's pretty suspect. Like what's going to go on. And also, I think Nightwing's return is something that we're going to see more of. Because there's got to be a reason they decided to add Nightwing to the regular cast, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it expands the Bat family and adds, like, a new dynamic, but also, like, they are playing around with his whole deal of needing to live up to, like, Batman. The whole, like, I love the imitating of his voice.
Yeah. He's just, like what I like most about Nightwing is he's a little shitty. Because most of the Bat family are, like, little shits.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Barbara's probably the best one. She's probably the least, like, of a little shit, but, like Robin is, like, a little sassy boy.
But, oh, wait. Robin, who is still played by Jacob Tremblay. I looked up a photo of Jacob Tremblay recently. He's, like, he's, like, a grown person now. It's so strange seeing him from, like, Room, when he was, I think in that, he
but
was like
he
8.
sounds like a baby in.
Well, because I think because it was still done
Oh, he's
during
15.
COVID.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
15.
By grown person, I mean just not like baby face, complete baby
okay.
face anymore.
He's a teenager now.
Yeah. So now he like has he has consciousness. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels so strange.
Yeah, he might have had a I was gonna say growth spurt. Like, obviously he's had a growth spurt. I mean, like, his voice might have dropped, but I don't think it was noticeable because it's only been 2 episodes. I digress. But I'm really, really, really happy that at least concerning Harley and Ivy,
Mm-hmm.
the focus is on Ivy, which we did get. Like, I think the show itself has been, despite being called Harley Quinn, has been pretty balanced in showing us, like, what Harley's doing and what Ivy's doing, even though Ivy's was more like, how can I fall in love with Kite Man if, I'm a misandrist, like, that was kind of her whole thing.
Yeah.
And now she really gets to, like, show off her powers.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that they're doing it together, and that's where the conflict and drama has mostly arose. It's not childish drama. It's not like a miscommunication issue. It's like Harley has a very specific personality, which Ivy likes about Harley, but it can be disruptive to her projects and the things that she needs to get done. And so that's where conflict comes in, and that's something that is naturally occurring in a lot of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, you have a partner who has something that does endear you to them, but is also like, at this moment it's quite annoying,
or it makes you feel like emotionally vulnerable to the point of discomfort, which big on Ivy.
And Harley and Ivy are a great couple too, because Harley is like explosive and very like she's very impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
And, manic, as that's, like, kind of her whole fucking deal, is how manic she is. And Ivy's, like, very much subdued, cold, calculated. And so they, like, complement each other. But, yeah, it sometimes grates on each other's nerves. Like, another thing about, like, Harley's kind of struggles with Ivy is that Ivy doesn't, like, have enough self-confidence to do some things.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore she's, like, indecisive. And so Harley tries to help Ivy with her plans, basically, and it's like, she's like, you just need to do something. And it's nice seeing them get frustrated with each other like that, and then ultimately resolve that. And it's nice to know that's not going to cause them to break up.
Yeah. I will say that them sticking together, I did want to mention these. I had sent you these 2 videos earlier. I forget which one talked about this specific point, but I'm going to say both of them because they're both good. One of them is by a channel called Lines in Motion on YouTube, called Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, a slow burn relationship in the making. And the other is by Lady Emily, also on YouTube, called The Evolving Relationship of Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. I forget which one, but one of them talks about, from more of like the comic book side, and how a lot of comic writers hate keeping people in happy or just in relationships, period, because it can cause stagnation in their character arcs and journeys and blah, blah, blah. But I like that the show, and I think they pointed this out as well, they show that because even though you are now in a relationship, that's not the end-all be-all. There is still development to be had within that relationship, within that new context. And I feel like that's what this whole season is kind of exploring.
That actually, and that's true, and it's true not just for comic writers. I think it's true for any sort of long form writers. So, like, anybody writing a television show, particularly in comedies, is will they, won't they is powerful, and also the sort of deciding to be in a committed relationship is considered to be an end point, like an end cap. Like, Ross and Rachel don't get together in Friends until the very end of the series. Like, they don't fully get together. It's the drama that is created between them wanting to be with each other and then trying it, and then it's not working, and then but always coming back. And so that reminds me of something Kayvon Novak actually said, I think during San Diego Comic-Con for What We Do in the Shadows, is he was remarking on on the potentiality of a relationship between his character and another character on the show, and he was saying like, okay, but when they get in a relationship, like, what do? Do they just like they start fucking? Like, what's like he was talking about like how do you make this, like, where do you go from once you establish a relationship thing? And I think that that's very like limiting thinking, and something that shows kind of the talent of the Harley Quinn writers, in that like they know that the end of the beginning of a relationship is not the end of the show, and because the characters are so interesting and the show itself is so fun to watch, like we're gonna have fun even though we know like there's no possible romance between Harley and the Joker. In fact, the way they've handled the Joker is another thing I really wanted to get into, but I can save that for later if you want to like.
I real quick want to jump off of one of your points, which was it was who was it? KD Novak?
Kayvon Novak.
Kayvon Novak. Talking about like the where, like, what do? They just go straight to fucking. Because again, as I've said before, I am part of a lot of subreddit shit. And so I've joined obviously Harley Quinn subreddit. I'll probably be posting a link about this there. But some of the stuff I've seen in there includes people, a lot of them, like, there are plenty of people who are making, like, valid criticisms, like, or even people who don't realize what the reason behind them criticizing a certain aspect of the show is, and then people discussing it with them, which I think is a very constructive way of doing things. But there are also people saying, and this one's, it's harder to discuss with people, and kind of come to a better understanding. But a lot of people are saying that the relationship feels super rushed and forced in how they all of a sudden are calling each other honey and babe and blah, blah, blah. But one thing that people don't really think about is the fact that, like, if you've seen any relationship between relatively young people, that's how it works. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, yes, lesbians, there's the joke about, like, we met a week ago, we're gonna U-Haul 10 cats and a ranch house in the middle of Colorado. Yeah, there are jokes about that. They are funny. I enjoy those jokes. But
I met this girl at a cafe the other day. We just put a lease on a new Subaru Forester.
Yep, there you go. Always a Subaru. I love Subarus, though.
Hey, they're the lesbian cars.
Dude, well, they're good for short people, too. That's the thing.
I drive a Subaru Forester. I'm in love with it. It's a great car.
It is. It's actually really... Okay, for anyone who's short and, like, needs a car, yes, obviously. So Subarus are kind of, like, depending on the year, can be expensive, but Subaru Foresters, I think even going back to, like, 2008 or before even, they have it where the amount that you can pull the, or push the steering wheel in, combined with the amount that you can bring the seat up and forward, is perfect for if you're, like, under 5 feet, which is a curse usually. I drove a pickup today. I experienced that. So there's a car. We're not, like, no sponsorship from Subaru. We're just both New Englanders.
Yeah, we're both gay New Englanders, so that's how we got Subarus.
Maybe, do you think it's not just a Connecticut thing? It's definitely like
New England. Every car in Maine is a Subaru.
That's true. Like, that is true.
It's definitely New England. It's anywhere where
a lot of Vermont too,
where there's bad, like, winter weather. It's
usually... or like very very tight or windy roads. Like trees everywhere. What were we talking about? We were talking about the speed of the speed of relationships. Like, if even looking at, like, straight couples, like, when you hit it off, people just go like gangbusters, like a bat out of hell. You just immediately, like, dive into it. It's nuts. Like, I've never been in one, but I've seen plenty of people just, like, going for it. And people don't realize that, because when you're in that relationship, from what I can tell, you don't realize that you're going at such a speed because you're so caught up in everything.
I think it's also worth pointing out, like, the previous relationships of Harley and Ivy. Like, Ivy's was a little more normal, but I think a lot of it was her trying to convince herself that this is something that's good for her. Even though Kite Man was technically a villain, which I don't know anything about Kite Man, so you help me out there.
I only know. Oh god, something fell. It's the flashlight. Hold on. Okay. I only know of his existence because of the YouTube channel Captain Midnight. They always use them in the intro, and like how pathetic he is because he just uses a kite.
but Kite Man was to Ivy settling, and I think they both kind of knew that. And so her last relationship, like, they called each other babe and stuff. Kite Man was a little more into it than she was, but they did call each other like pet names. Harley's previous relationship was someone who was actively abusing her, and one that she very much did not enjoy. So now they're both in a relationship with a person they're in love with, someone who they've known for a very long time, but have actually only been able to express this kind of love in a very short amount of time. So it makes perfect sense to me that they do, like, does it seem a little sudden? Yes, but are they two people who really, really wanted, who probably for a long time were in love with each other and didn't even really think about it that way, who are now finally kind of making up for lost time in both the sense that their previous relationships were kind of shitty and their current relationship is something that they've been waiting for a long time?
Yeah. And it's also, like, they've been friends for, like, very close friends for a while. Like, you've already gone past, like, the first step of relationship. Like, becoming to the point of friends. Or at least of ones that are long-term relationships. You have to, like, be able to be friends and, like, enjoy someone's company, period, for it to really work, you know?
And you could tell, too, because Ivy, particularly with a character like Ivy, who is so closed off from most people, the fact that, I mean, Kite Man's special in that regard, too, that she was able to, like, actually like Kite Man, even though she dislikes most people. But the fact that Harley has an established sort of, like Harley probably knows the most about Ivy compared to anybody else in the show or in any sort of comic canon. And so, like, that's an important, like, that's part of their foundation for the relationship, even though it's not all shown. Yeah, we haven't been watching them from the very beginning, but we don't need to in order to understand the way that they feel about each other, because they make that pretty damn clear, in my opinion.
I found an image real quick that I'm sending you. It's for anyone who wants to look. It is an alternate. How is it too big of a file, Discord? It is literally an image. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna do screenshot stuff. But for anyone who wants to look it up, it's the hardcover. It's the hardcover copy of the Eat Bang Kill tour. It's called Volume 1, but that's the only volume it's ever gonna be. So I don't know why they called it that.
Oh, it's like the collective. Well, they might. What if they want to, like, add more? Maybe they're just keeping it open in case they wanted to do another, like, run. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like, but basically, there's some bonus pages in there. And one of them is a Sad Gordon sketch. And it is, I love it quite a bit. Maybe I'll like take a screenshot and put on the website. I just sent it to you, Liz.
Liz doesn't see it. Oh, wait, here it is. Oh my god.
Yeah. Sad Gordon.
Oh, are we going to talk about the other characters in the show?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Cool.
We can go on to them before going further into the actual, like, following episodes and stuff, like, specifics.
Yeah.
Bane. We love Bane. Oh my god. I love just, like, the bank teller's, like, California Valley Girl accent, and then just going into, are you depressed?
Okay, yeah. To give some background, I know we always go in with the assumption that people have seen the media that we're talking about.
I mean, we recommend you to see it, but that doesn't mean we're forcing you to see it. So kind of onus is on us.
If you don't have HBO Max or don't like to pirate or whatever, you haven't exposed yourself to this show. So it is about Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, but it's also about the supervillains and villains of Gotham in general, and also, to a lesser extent, the superheroes of Gotham. And Bane is an absolute delight. Bane is pathetic. A lot of the villains actually are pathetic, or they're just shitty, and they're not shitty in like a very. And actually, this is what I wanted to point out. And again, I can talk about it later if you don't want to talk about Joker, but I did want to point out the thing about the villains in Gotham is that almost none of them are cool. Mm-hmm. Like, none of them are guys you would want a poster of in your room. I'm thinking of those college guys who have the Joker in their room.
Oh, God.
They're all varying degrees of lame or like petty, and that's funny because they are villains, so you're like, yeah, they do kind of suck, but they suck in ways that kind of endear you to them. Bane, for example, as I said, is pathetic. Like, pathetic because he's bad at socializing, and a big part of seeing the villains is seeing the way that they are kind of like all friends or they consider themselves really more coworkers. And Bane is like that one coworker that for whatever reason nobody likes, and he tries so hard for people to like him.
And he's just a nice guy. He's just kind of pathetic.
And it's so funny because he does have his own internal sense of like, it's not quite justice. It's more like what's polite, and he's very polite.
Yeah.
And so one of the things you see a lot in season 3, the kind of, I'm gonna call it like a Z plot because it's not really a plot at all. But every time you see Bane, he bugs Harley and Ivy for a pasta maker, like a pasta maker that he gifted Ivy for Ivy and Kite Man's wedding, and he just wants it back. And so he spends the entire series, we're up to 7 episodes now, asking about the goddamn pasta maker, going to the point of almost blowing up the place where Harley and Ivy reside. Actually, he does do it, doesn't he?
No, because it's
No?
Ivy. Ivy has a failed Eden serum, trying to like do what she did with the first Eden, and he sees it blow up. He's like in the parking lot, and then he just says, "I feel nothing," and contemplates further. Should I go see a therapist?
Yes. Eventually, we'll see. I think a mentally healthy Bane, but we're not there yet.
He's getting there. He's seeing a therapist. We learned that in the Owl episode.
But if you're wondering, yes, Bane is doing the Dark Knight Rises Bane voice.
It's beautiful. And like his look is kind of inspired by that, but I think probably also some comics.
It's I believe it's actually the original the 90s Batman animated series is where he gets his design from. If I remember correctly, because I
know
watched
a
that
lot of these designs are from that, so
yeah. Which is great. Also great if you haven't seen it. It's every piece of Batman animated anything is fucking amazing. I don't know how they do it, but it's that series is so fun.
You're right, it is the 90s Well, it's kind of 90s Batman, but also like I think from is that from a movie?
It's not. It's
from Batman and Robin. Also, kind of like it's a mix of because those designs are pretty similar. Yeah.
Batman and Robin the comics or Batman and Robin the movie?
The movie, that one movie, which I've never watched.
There was Bane in Batman and Robin?
Apparently. And he's kind of his skin is kind of green for some reason.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, he was dressed like he has the luchador with the Joel Schumacher's situation.
Yeah.
Oh, he was really oh man, he was really skinny. I've never seen Batman and Robin, to be honest.
Me neither.
Wow.
What were we going on? Other characters. I'll be honest, like, as funny as I think, like, Batman's simping can be, and, like, Catwoman's, like, aloofness, I don't really care for what they're doing with the whole, like, trying to find some sort of resolution to one of them being super needy and one of them not wanting to have somebody who's clingy.
Ultimately, I like Selena Kyle as aloof. Like, it doesn't make sense for her to actually love Batman, and I think there's pretty long precedent, save for that one comic series where he actually marries Selena Kyle.
Oh, I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, there's one. It's I guess. I can't remember the name of it, and nobody get on me about this. I don't read the comics. But I want to, but I don't. But I prefer Selena being like, I'm better than you, and also like, because it makes sense to me at least, because Batman being considered a hero has an amplified sense of like how good he is. Like he can use his moral basis to like be like, you must, you know, you got to choose me. I'm the morally good option. Whereas Selena Kyle, she can be good, she can be bad. The whole point of her character is that she can be whatever she wants to be, and that can be Batman's girlfriend. But if she wants to leave, she needs room to breathe, basically. Yeah. And so like, they're like, as of the most recent episode, they are like officially broken up, and I think that that's where it's got to stay, because I'm not invested in their being a couple at all. Like I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what Batman does. And I like Batman. I like Batman as a character.
I like his cat parents going on.
That I love how another thing about pathetic characters. I like how pathetic they make Batman, because one, we're watching a show about villains. It makes sense to turn the good guys into kind of like little like kind of pathetic shits. It makes sense. And I still like Batman, even though he is like clingy to Selena, and he's needs therapy. Like beating up goons is not therapy, my man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like both sides are so petty and obsessive. It's like in real life, you would just find them very, very pathetic and like childish. So that's what they're showing them as. But I enjoy Batman and Selena as characters. I just found things like their music therapy session stuff, like I didn't really care for it. I thought that was really straight. I didn't know whether or not they were trying to go for like actual good singing or for like mediocre singing. It just didn't seem like a tune, really.
I think Selena Kyle's voice actress, I think Catwoman's voice actress was actually supposed to be sounding good, and I think she did okay. Yeah. But hot diggity damn, the guy who plays Batman, I don't know the voice actor. I don't know any of the voice actors other than Kaley Cuoco. I have to
assume he was going for like
bad, because it was bad. Yeah, it was fucking flat.
Yeah, it's just weird because they didn't like visibly frame it like that.
Like, you expected it to be one of those things that like start off like where they're both bad, but then they go into like a fantasy where they're both technically, they both think they're good, but then the camera pulls out and they like sound terrible. Like that feels like maybe that's what they were going for. But it didn't really turn out. Part of Harley Quinn is kind of her ensemble. And as you know, Ivy is obviously a big part of her ensemble, but we also have
King Shark. As
King
a
Shark.
drunken me at C2 Ren Fair said many times when we were watching The Suicide Squad, King Shark.
Oh, also James Gunn, The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. You want to watch a good DC movie? Watch the James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
I also enjoyed Birds of Prey. I feel like it's probably 50-50 whether or not you enjoy it, because there are some parts that are just like but I thought it was fun. I thought it was energetic.
I think most people when they are coming into Harley Quinn, the animated series, or coming into a DC property, they are probably thinking of the most recent, presuming they're not familiar with the comics. They probably are coming from that perspective. And so I think it's actually really funny we'll get back to King Shark in a minute. It's really funny to consider, like, say your most recent experience in the Gotham universe is watching the Batman or the Joker or Suicide Squad, the bad one, and then you come in and you watch Harley Quinn. The way that the characters are that you might be used to, because that's how DC in the movies portrays them, like, it's very funny to me. And I'll explain a little more, but first I want to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, King Shark.
King Shark.
He is voiced by Ron Funches, who, if you do not know who that is, he is, quite frankly, one of the funniest fucking people, I think, just ever. But most importantly, as, like, a voice actor, he's so funny. He's just good, man. Like, he's got a way of just turning everything. Like, here's the thing about King Shark. in Harley Quinn is that he is not the muscle. He is the brains. He was brought in as a tech expert to round out their crew. And he hasn't been doing a lot of tech stuff recently, but in the first in the first season at least, he was like, his whole thing was like hacking and shit.
The social media guy too.
Yes, he was also in charge of Harley's sort of PR presence on social media and stuff, because she was trying to rise to like best villain or worst villain. I don't know. Basically,
yeah. Or well,
villainous
also,
enough.
She was trying to get a nemesis who wasn't Robin, the 10-year-old.
Yeah. And obviously it's very funny.
Oh shit, he was in The Babysitter. Oh fuck yeah.
Ron Funches?
Yeah, I forgot he's in I thought I recognized his face. Oh my god. That's such a good movie for anyone who hasn't seen it. It's so much fun.
As I said, he's amazing. He's just so funny. But King Shark is great. King Shark has two modes. He has this absolute, like, the sweetest, coolest, chillest. Like, he is probably the calmest among the crew, among Harley's squad, unless he smells blood, and then he goes absolutely batshit berserk. But it's so fun how you expect, especially the way he's introduced, how you expect him to be, like, similar to the way he is in The Suicide Squad, where he's quiet and just intimidating and a big shark man. And then in Harley Quinn, he's very talkative, he's very sweet and nice and chill, and he's also just, like, again, I can't talk his performance up enough. Ron Funches is just so funny. I don't know how he does it. He's just so funny.
Yep.
Are you reading IMDb?
I'm looking up the name of his character in The Babysitter just because I can't remember the names of the characters. So ignore me. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, now I remember. Ignore me. Clayface, Alan Tudyk.
Oh yes, another absolutely. I mean, Alan Tudyk I think is such a good choice too, because Alan Tudyk is known for his expansive, his expansive wardrobe, I'll say, of characters when it comes to his other, like, voice acting and acting adventures.
And also it's kind of like Looney Tunes, like, over the top roles as well.
Yeah. If y'all remember Hey Hey the Chicken from Moana, that's your man, Alan Tudyk.
He was in Wreck-It Ralph too. He was the villain in that.
Oh shit! Yeah, he was.
He was also in Frozen, I think.
He was Frozen as the Duke of Weselton, and then he was also in Zootopia as Duke Weaselton, a weasel. But he's obviously he's more prolific as he played,
he's like D. Bradley
Wash
Baker
in Firefly. Yeah. He played K2SO in Rogue One.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He's super good. And then Clayface as a character is also funny because he's another big character. And when I say big, I mean, like, physically large. And he's also not the muscle. He's the master of disguise archetype in a crime squad. He is bad at character consistency, but he wants to be an actor. In fact, you kind of wonder why he's a villain other than the fact that he's made out of clay. Like,
I think that is basically it. He just is an actor who, like, is struggling and to, like, make ends meet, maybe, like, stole, like, a fucking candy bar, and that's it.
It's deeply ironic that most of Harley Quinn's squad is made up of genuinely just super cool people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why you can more easily get on board. As fun as it is to watch a character that's, like, do bad shit, it's much easier to like Harley even when she does bad shit. Even, I mean, it's also kind of lends itself to the cartoon violence of it all when she's smashing people's heads in. When you're also like, this is a cartoon. She's not actually a dick, though. Yeah. Because the one character who I think is one of the bigger dicks in the show is Dr. Psycho, who...
Oh, yeah.
Wacky ass name aside, he's played by Tony Hale.
C word. Wait, no, he's Tom Kenny.
No, that was Tony Hale.
What?
That was Arrested Development's Tony Hale.
Wait, what? Hold on. I thought it was Tom Kenny. It sounded so much like him.
Nope.
Oh my god, I'm fucking
Tony Hale.
having an aneurysm.
Yeah. But Dr. Psycho is no longer a part of Harley Quinn's crew as of season 3, because he's actually the only one who's legit a dick. Like, of all the other villains, except for maybe Maxie Zeus, of all the other villains who are like kind of cool, like Riddler's pretty fun. I wish they kind of kept Riddler on for a little longer, because it's fun seeing him show up at things. And he's played by Jim Rash, who plays the Dean in Community.
Oh my god, Riddler and Clockface. I love their whole like dynamic at the Villies.
At the Villies?
At the Oscars of the villains, basically.
Yeah.
And the way that they like interact with Harley and the whole like, oh, she's like, we have to show our new puppy. It reminds me a lot of my uncle who is gay and his husband.
So the reason why Harley and Ivy are at the Villies is because they're nominated for Best Villain Couple. Harley had been nominated in the past for being one half of the villain couple, Joker and Harley. But now she wanted to show up specifically because she would be able to win the Villy, take it home because Joker always took it, and also with a person she actually likes being in a relationship with. But their major competition is the Riddler, yay, and Clockface, who I guess is a villain, but they're a gay couple, so they're like two gay couples. First of all, it's WLW MLM anti-solidarity. It is direct competition. And so they're trying to like be the cuter couple together while Ivy's dealing with some shit. But it's also just funny because you have to wonder, why the hell are they even a couple? And I don't mean Harley and Ivy, I mean Riddler and Clockface. Is it his name King? Is he not King Clock? Is he Clockface?
No, it's Clock King, because then there's Clock King.
Clock King, yes.
But there's with the whole the antagonism between them, I like that there is no like actual hostility between them, even when it comes to running. It's more of like, oh no, yeah, we like try to bribe this guy to like get us our win, and that's it. Like, oh well, here, have a see our new dog. But it definitely goes, the fact that both of them are gay couples, it goes well with the whole winning of the Joe Chill Award, which is like the honored person lifetime achievement type award of these of the Villies, and it's given to Catwoman, who gives a speech about it being because she's black.
It's a great lambast or lampoon of the actual Olympics. Of the Oscars. Wow. Of the Olympics.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. But I love the whole line of like a Black Manta. Joker just asking, is he black? Because he just has a suit on. That's the whole thing with Black Manta.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's. First of all, I only recently learned who Joe Chill is, so if you don't know who Joe Chill is, and why he's important, and why he has a Lifetime Achievement of Villainy Award, he's the one who killed Batman's parents.
Yep.
Ha-ha! I didn't know that.
It's great.
And yeah, it's so funny because the antagonism, as you said, between Harley and the Clock King Riddler couple is the fact that they Clockler, yes.
Riddle King.
Oh, it's right. It is. I think they made jokes about that too. Is that they're not actually mad at each other. They're just both competitive.
Yeah.
Which I think is very spiriting between gay and lesbian couples.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Joker has a very awful. He's hosting the Villies, and he has the worst 2 minutes of my life, which is him doing like a rap.
It's so like James Corden or
at the Tonys. James Corden at the Tonys.
Jimmy Fallon or what's the other late night show guy?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Oh God, the 2018 Oscars, Jimmy Kimmel.
You could just put James Corden in there twice. He's annoying for 2
any
minutes.
James or Jimmy that's like a talk show host, basically.
They're all James.
All of them.
Yeah, but it was very much like get a load of this guy, because it was so. Oh man, even the Even
the
the way it
forced hip
opened.
hop of like an older dude.
Yeah, it is.
And like trying to rap, and it's just like so stilted.
And I think that's another reason why I love the way the series handles Joker, is because Joker isn't cool. He's never cool. He's not cool at any point. He's either desperate, or he's lame, or he's just a dick, but not in a funny way, just a dick. And then they've actually kind of given him a sort of comeback. They spent the entire first season positioned as the antagonist to Harley. She beats him, spoiler alert, and he gets what we assume is murdered. But instead, he just becomes normal. I don't remember if they explained how that happens, but
it was some like amnesia thing.
He became a normal guy for a little while, and then he
was like a bartender.
Unnormaled. He became Jokerified, but he maintained
he got Jokerified. He got red pilled.
He got Jokerified, but he maintained the things that he had, the relationships and stuff that he had built, while he was normal. So season 3 Joker is a sitcom stay-at-home dad, but still the Joker, and it is my favorite. It is the absolute antidote to the why so serious ass new crop of Joker fans who just are obnoxious and think he's unpredictable, he's a maniac, he's insane, he's so
so edgy.
He's so edgy. This Joker is not edgy at all.
His main villain now. His main villain is a PTA mom.
Yes,
Debbie.
And his main motive is doing things for his kids. He runs for mayor because his kids can't get into a like special Spanish class, and their mom, his wife, is Latina. So he starts to like, I think he's gonna attempt to like poison her or something, like a whole fucking. He tries to do it the nice way, and then he just goes off the rails trying to run for mayor.
Yep.
And speaking of running for mayor,
he's now mayor.
He is now mayor as of 2 episodes ago. But also speaking of people who were running for mayor, Jim Gordon. James Gordon.
He continues his run as a very, again, I feel like saying this word so much it makes it feel weak, like weaker than the actual meaning is, but again, he's a pathetic character. He's obsessed with Batman. He's obsessed with the idea of stopping all crime, even if he's not actually doing anything. He befriends Clayface's hand in like season 2.
Oh my god! Yeah, Clayface gets his hand cut off in a heist gone wrong, and it becomes its own little. By the way, that was Tom. Yeah,
that was Tom Kenny for sure.
Playing Clayface's hand. This little he basically grows little legs, but it's still a hand.
It's just SpongeBob. It's just a SpongeBob voice.
It is like a higher pitched SpongeBob voice.
Yeah. But yeah, he's like not. He isn't able to keep the respect of his daughter. He eventually. At the end, he doesn't understand Two-Face, meaning like you're two-faced. You're gonna backstab somebody, and yes, Two-Face gets like frustrated with him for not understanding that. And eventually
he's hilariously bad. In fact, it makes sense that he's so bad at crime and at everything, because otherwise, why would Batman, if Jim Gordon were capable as he would need to be in Gotham, why would Batman exist?
Yeah.
He basically is the reason Batman exists, is because he's so piss poor at being a cop, which is also really good satire for the modern day, where most cops are stupid and they're either actively malicious or a waste of resources, as Jim Gordon shows, having spent a lot of money on tanks and body armor for his cops, but not knowing how to use them.
It's like a government official who, like, reposts somebody talking about a kid who made, like, a lemonade stand to pay for the parents' health care. Mm-hmm. It's like, you don't understand the irony here as the person who is in control. But, Yeah, no, I love the fact that he finally understands that, and it's through the Joker of all people talking to him about being a better person for their child that Gordon finally is kind of thinking about Barbara, who is not paralyzed, which is nice. She's becoming friends with Harley Quinn after an escape room.
That's the thing. They're like, the misogyny shit. We don't want it.
Yeah.
Throw it away.
The voice actresses of Harley Quinn and I think I mentioned this to you already, Liz, but voice actresses of Harley Quinn and Batgirl are actually are siblings. They're sisters. So,
Kaylee Cuoco has a sister?
Apparently.
Oh, hold on. I gotta look this up now.
Yeah. I was told
Brianna.
This. Okay.
Brianna
I was gonna say, I was told this by somebody, and I'm hoping that they weren't lying to me, because I like that idea. Yeah. Okay, good.
She's Barbara Gordon.
Yeah. So that's always, like, hearing them in a scene, like, where they're fighting or just, like, arguing and stuff, like, is always fun.
And they're both actually great casts for the roles, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Batgirl is, like, very excitable. She's very... In fact, it makes sense that they're kind of pulling them together as friends now, because they're similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah. It's the same type of personality, but applied to different sides of the coin. Yeah,
exactly. They're both very, very, enthusiastic. And I wanted to touch on this too while speaking of voice actors, which I also wanted to give commendation to the voice actor for Joker, because his dynamic range is kind of amazing when you think about, like, especially when he's saying normal shit.
Yeah.
He like what you see a lot of in one of the more recent episodes, is that he still has a lot of pitch modulation, which makes him sound jokery, especially when you compare to other, like, previous Jokers. It's a skill that Mark Hamill had, and it's a skill that that he has, and it's good. But Kaylee Cuoco, I feel like a lot of people only know her from The Big Bang Theory. Maybe if you've seen The Flight Attendant, I've heard it's very good. I have not seen it. But
I've never seen The Big Bang Theory, so I just don't know her.
But if you're someone who's coming from that point of reference, and you hear Kaylee Cuoco as Harley Quinn, who made that acting decision? Because you're like, she was just the bimbo character on a middling comedy that went on for way too long. But she, like the Joker's voice actor, whose name escapes me, although if you see me
I'm
typing
looking
this.
for it now. Why is it not on the... It's not on the IMDb, like... Hold on. That's a top cast. Why is the Joker actor not on the top cast?
Probably because he doesn't have a main...
Yeah, I guess. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Who's Tawny?
Who's Tommy?
No, Tawny.
Tawny is the Tawny is like the Tawny is like the Wendy.
Yeah. Okay, wait. James Gunn appears before Joker. What is happening? What is going on?
Maxie Zeus appears before Joker.
Okay, wait. Maybe it's because somebody.
Oh, I think he's a multiple credit role.
Find.
Maybe it's Dietrich. Is it Dietrich Bader? It's not Dietrich Bader.
No.
Maybe it's Christopher Maloney.
In the editing, I'm gonna skip to whenever we find the person. Let's see.
Rahul Kohli was Scarecrow? Holy shit. Hi, if you don't know who Rahul Kohli is, he's great. It's not Rory Scovel. It would have to be multiple episodes. It'd have to be...
Yeah, it'd have to be a
who has multiple
episodes, so it'd have to be
credits?
Toward the top.
It's the guy who plays Kite Man?
Is it whoever Samson is? No.
It can't be Matt Oberg. No, he plays...
Andy Daly? No, Two-Face. Just old
That
Two-Face.
can't be Andy Daly.
Is it James Adomian? No, he's Jess Bane. He's Jess Bane. Is it the guy who plays the Riddler?
It's funny that Wayne Knight plays the Penguin.
Is the guy who plays Commissioner Gordon. It's just Commissioner Gordon.
It's not Charlie Adler, is it? No, that's
is
one
it?
episode. Is he not a guy?
No, he has to be a person who exists.
He's gotta be a dude.
Oh god, why is it lagging out? No, IMDb.
Don't do this. Don't do this. JB Smoove.
Ooh.
JB Smoove is also great as Frank the
No,
Plant.
no, no, it is Alan Tudyk.
Shut up! You.
Clayface / Joker.
I'm gonna eat my hat.
Clayface / Joker.
Oh my
bro.
god, you're totally right. Holy shit.
Yep. Dude, why am I not
Flabbergasted.
surprised? It's fucking Alan Tudyk. He has such a range.
It's fucking Alan Tudyk.
Now that I know that, I'm gonna be able to tell. That's the weird thing.
Damn. I really thought it was some nobody. Wow.
No, it's just Alan Tudyk being Clayface in real
being
life.
fucking amazing. Wow, that is absolutely. I'm truly flabbergasted by that.
Honestly, he's like Bradley D. Baker, where he's like he can do everything.
D. Bradley
including,
Baker,
like animal.
yes.
D. Bradley Baker, that
Yeah.
one.
I mean, this is kind of a stacked cast because Phil LaMarr, who, if you don't know who Phil LaMarr is, he's probably best known as Samurai Jack, but he's prolific as well. I mean, you've got frickin' Jason Alexander as Cyborgman. Sorry, I just bumped my mic. Christopher Maloney as Commissioner Gordon. Christopher Maloney is actually also very good actor, very talented. He's plays in Law. He's actually he's a main character in Law and Order. Detective Elliot Stabler.
Oh.
But yeah, damn. Sorry.
Oh, before I forget, now that we've gone on this tangent about casting, real quick,
Mhm.
I had mentioned earlier about the owl episode and like something that was cut. So apparently, the showrunners and like writers had wanted to do it where, spoiler alert, they go to like this top secret society meeting, and Ivy and Harley are horrified when it turns out to be an orgy. And you see that Catwoman and Batman are there. And so they had wanted to have Batman going down on Catwoman. 'Cause you see like a ton of other characters. Apparently they did not want that for the reason that a hero wouldn't do that. Which is a very strange way of putting that. So like a hero doesn't, make
I
sure
remember
that
that.
sexual relations are pleasurable to both parties.
I'm pretty sure that was based on based on something in the news somewhat recently. God damn, I can't.
But yeah, so
Yes,
that
I
wasn't-
remember that. They
Yeah.
said it was like they're saying it wouldn't be. Oh, the next episode, by the way, is called Batman Begins Forever.
Oh damn.
Damn.
Good callbacks. Batman Begins, Batman Forever.
Yeah. But wow. Yeah. So yeah, they were. I remember this tweet thread about heroes not reciprocating oral pleasure.
Yeah, and it's like heroes gotta get their game back, dude.
Mm.
Get down there, bro. But yeah, no, that was I thought it was. I love Bane in the background trying to carbo load before the.
He's trying to
the
carbo
orgy.
load, and then he has like.
He has
apparently-
a giant ass sub sandwich.
Well, also apparently his arms are like robotic or whatever.
Oh yeah,
and so
because he has one
twists his
gun
arm
arm
off and
Yeah.
turns it into like a dildo or something like that.
Yeah, he does.
It's this season is absolutely like it's so funny. Like the amount of jokes per second, I think, to me at least to my memory, are so frequent.
Yeah. Like, I'm someone who thought, like, even this season, I think all of them are kind of, like, hit or miss. A lot of the jokes are hit or miss, and I'd say, like, maybe 35% of the time they miss for me. But with the speed that they're told and how many are told within such a short amount of time, like, I've ended up laughing out loud, like, literally. So I think that even if you don't enjoy some of the jokes, you'll still find something to enjoy throughout the series.
Yeah. But I personally, to me, I think it's pretty damn funny. I just saw in a trailer for this third season Joker beating a Robin to death with a crowbar, and I don't know if that's a reference to the Red Hood.
I was gonna say, I sent that video, not that long ago to the group chat.
Which, can anybody answer me? Why wasn't he wearing shoes?
I don't know, but Joe DiMaggio, who played the Joker in that one, I've never seen the actual movie or whatever it is, but Joe DiMaggio does a really, really good job. Like, he plays Jake the dog.
He does a very...
And Bender from Futurama?
Yeah, Bender.
And it is really, really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about the shoes.
It's the one thing, so,
it's
for a little bit more context, recently, Jacqui shared a video of clips from the movie Under the Red Hood where John DiMaggio was cast in the role of Joker, which is really cool because, I didn't know he played Joker in any ever, and John DiMaggio is known for having a very deep, very specific voice. Jake the Dog, Bender, King Zog, and Disenchanted, totally a very specific, frequent but specific voice, and so his performance as Joker is really, really strong and very threatening. But one of the videos is one of the clips is he's shown basically beating up Robin with a crowbar, and
Robin
he's not wearing shoes. Robin's not wearing shoes. He's wearing his full Robin outfit, sans shoes. Yeah. And I'm not going to let this go, because I'd like to know why.
Oh, by the way, I think
the first thing to go?
The clip you saw in the trailer, that's the one at the beginning of the Villies, before he starts rapping.
Oh, yes, you're
the whole,
right.
Setup, and then he stands up and, dances with
Oh my
Joker's,
god, yeah,
rapping.
you're totally right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just
and they
so
reference that super dark scene where he's killing, spoiler alert for a movie that came out 20 years ago.
I think he killed him.
Where he killed, well, no, the whole thing about Red Hood is that they thought he killed Robin. Because he was the whole idea is that Batman carries guilt from the death of the first Robin by Joker, and it turns out the first Robin didn't actually die, became Red Hood, and then gets mad at Batman because Batman had the opportunity to kill Joker and then never did. And is like, why didn't you avenge my death? And Batman's like, I don't know. I physically can't kill Joker. I'm not sure. But yeah, wow. It's just there are if you know what you're looking for, there are also just so many references. Some of them, I'm sure there are even more references if you're really familiar with the comics. I am not, but just references to different Batman media. You can tell the people making the show like Batman. Wow.
Mm-hmm. The bit where Nightwing visits the Batcave again and sees Batgirl's armor and comments on the boobs. I wonder if that is a reference to Oh no, that's not it. I'm misremembering because it's talking about No, isn't it? One of the Batman movies, I'm pretty sure. One of the live-action Batman movies, I think by Schumacher, has bat nipples.
George Clooney as his I think it's George Clooney as Batman, which I think was the Schumacher films.
That was Schumacher.
Has metal nipples on in the chest plate of the Batman suit.
Which is it's like if it were, because you see that's on stuff like old Roman and Greek armor.
Yeah.
Yes. But then you have a bat symbol with extra thick pecs, and it's just it's a bat with nipples. It's a bat with nipples.
Yeah, it's one
with
of those things
human
where
nipples.
If you're coming from the perspective of, oh, it is very much like a Greco-Roman, like a Spartan chest plate, then it kind of makes sense. But you're right, the fact that it's the nipple, it's not trying to be realistic.
Yeah.
Because there's a damn bat symbol on the chest.
Yeah,
so you can
the
have
rest of it's the rest of it's way too over the top for it to work.
Yeah,
that
and
entire
then you're just
look.
oh, so of all the details you had to include on the suit, the nipples were one of them.
Mm-hmm. And the bat butt and the bat credit card.
Wow.
Never leave the house without it.
Never leave the house without it.
Oh, do you need to go, by the way?
I mean, nah, we're well past. I was gonna make two sort of comments,
Okay.
and then we can kind of wrap up, and you can talk about the comic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, one thing about Nightwing, Harvey Guillen, who is in What We Do in the Shadows, which I mentioned previously. Harvey Guillen as Nightwing is a fabulous surprise, because I absolutely love Harvey Guillen, and I'm surprised that he was cast because his voice isn't deep. He's putting on like a rather deep, sort of raspy Batman-esque voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's much lower and quieter than he is in other roles, and he's not particularly loud in some of his other roles, namely as Guillermo in What We Do in the Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also just an exuberant personality, so his casting on as Nightwing is a really interesting one, and I think he's doing a fantastic job with it, especially because this Nightwing is like a whiny emo. As we've pointed out, everyone's kind of a loser, and Nightwing is no exception. And he like wants to come back, and because he was the first Robin, he wants to be like back in his like superhero edgy zone, and like he wants to work alone like Batman, but also the Bat family is a thing, and so it's just so funny and a funny performance. And I'm hoping that because they introduced him in this season, that next we'll see a lot more of him and understand why he came back a little more in the coming seasons.
Well, I mean, because I had read about this, when he's in the escape room with Ivy, he's talking about like his failures and stuff. Mm-hmm. He killed somebody called Blockbuster, not after the dead movie rental chain.
Well, they're both dead now.
Because apparently some other villain or anti-hero convinced him that he had to kill the guy or girl, I forget which, had to kill Blockbuster because Blockbuster knew Nightwing's identity, like true identity, and ended up killing the person. So that's like the reason for returning.
Mm.
Yeah, because he feels like he failed because he killed a dude.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more like kind of Bat family chaos mixed with the delightful chaos of Harley Quinn. The second thing I kind of wanted to talk about was the designs of the characters and the way that they differ and the way that they're the same of other previous animated and live action and comic versions of the characters. Mm-hmm. I think I most love, well, okay, my favorite Harley, and this is purely my bias, my favorite Harley Quinn outfit will be the full Jester's outfit. Mm-hmm. I think it's the cutest, it's the most fun to look at. But I love the version they went with for the show, which is very athletic. She's wearing basically like these like cute little like spandex shorts. She's wearing these like sneakers with pom-poms. She has a little crop top sort of bra thing. Like she's still like kind of sexy in a lot of the more recent adaptations have shown her to be, mm-hmm. but she still feels very like capable and comfortable. Instead of the like goofy hammer, she's got a baseball bat. Like she's very much a like kick in your windows kind of design, and she's not mm-hmm. over sexualized. Like she shows a lot of skin, but her body is muscular. Like she's a very good character design in my opinion. And they've got the different colored hair, which I think everybody loves about the Harley Quinn like the modern design. I think people love the two-tone hair. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and the two-tone eyeshadow,
eye makeup, too. Yeah. And overall, it's such a good design, too, because it allows her to really break away from Joker and to break away from being a Harlequin, and she's more like a circus acrobat, in my opinion. Like, I feel like that's more the direction she's gone, rather than being something that's like directly to Joker. Like she still has like a little bit of clown inspiration, I think, with the coloring, because that's very like Harlequin, like deck of cards Joker coloring. But she's I personally believe that like she's the best of both kind of worlds of being like sexy, but also being like really cool and capable, and like her outfit's just very cool, and her design I think is really nice. I think Poison Ivy's also, like, super cool. Again, she's, like...
Poison Ivy's a big improvement in terms of,
She's not wearing a leaf bikini anymore, which I think means that it's a win. We've won.
We've gotten somewhere.
She's wearing a moto jacket. She's wearing some cool ass, like, leggings.
Yeah, like, even the leggings have that, like, leaf design, kind of, like, harkening back to
yeah, it still has
leaves.
the ivy part of her outfit.
It's just not wearing, like... It's not wearing a floral chandelier over yourself and calling it clothing.
Yeah, it's practical. And for this Ivy, who's very low-key, and also, I understand her sort of femme fatale sort of function, but if her whole thing is that she doesn't like people, to me it tracks that means she doesn't want to attract people.
Yeah.
Like, she's got pheromone. We've got them. We've done that. She's got pheromone that makes her irresistible. Why would she also have to dress irresistibly as well? She doesn't want that. That's part of her characterization. So, like, she dresses instead sensibly, comfortably. It's still cool, and it shows off, like, kind of her cool interior as well. As, like, she's got the moto jacket. She's got the cool boots. Like, she's a cool lady.
She is, yeah. She's a cool 30-something lady.
Joker is classic. Like, they don't do too much. They don't stray too far from, I think, the general design of the Joker's past, which is a suit and a guy with green hair. But they do keep, rather than going for the scarred interpretation, they keep the more, like, Jack Nicholson, whoever played him in the Adam West movie shows.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson. Yeah.
Is that Jack Nicholson? I thought that was Schumacher's Joker.
No. Jack Nicholson was the older one too. I remember watching one, like, as a kid.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they keep the makeup sort of, like, as his. That's why he,
That's
which
his face.
I prefer it. I think it looks better. It matches. It's the same as in the Batman animated series from the 90s. He's also just a dude in makeup. And I think that's fine.
Oh, sorry, you.
No. I was just going to mention about, like, my personal gripes with the scarred editions of Joker, which, I mean, obviously, the Christopher Nolan Batman series Joker was great. Like, can't complain. Like, that was such a great performance from the actor who's failing me. He's from In a Knight's Tale. He was in Brokeback Mountain. Why can't I remember his name? He was in Lizzie McGuire.
I don't know who you're trying to...
The actor who played the Joker.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
No. Jake Gyllenhaal was in Brokeback Mountain. You're correct about that, but no.
The guy who looked... Joaquin Phoenix is who you're thinking of.
No, it's not. That's not who I'm thinking of. No? Joaquin was in the Joker. But no, this guy passed away in 2008.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about that.
We have IMDb right here. Joker.
I know, but I'm trying to remember. My brother had a fucking
Heath
Joker
Ledger.
poster. Yeah, Heath Ledger.
Much, like, I love that interpretation of the Joker, but I think stylistically I will always prefer, like, just makeup Joker. I think it's funnier. I think it looks cooler than trying to have to deal with scarring and shit. And I don't ever I like Gotham villains as camp characters. I don't really like them as horror characters. And I think as of late, some of the comic interpretations of Joker, I think what is it? It's like Batman's Last Night on Earth or whatever.
Oh.
That one's one where Joker's just a head in a fucking in a little glass like thing. That's where, like, it's like Batman in the Apocalypse. No, what's the one?
Oh.
It's not White Knight. There's one where he's like basically he's like a face stapled onto his skull or something. It's like I don't like it. I
feel like the Batman video games. I have to actually play
Arkham Asylum.
I watched my brother play them as like a kid so much, but those ones do capture like the way to do it as horror pretty well. I think. Just kind of playing into certain strengths that the movies don't really as much.
Oh, and you still get more Mark Hamill as Batman.
Yeah,
as Batman. Sorry,
except for Arkham Origins, because Troy Baker's Joker in that one.
Oh, is he? I thought he was. Is that where Troy Baker Joker has come from? Because I know that there's a Joker in the Batman Telltale games, and I didn't know if that was Troy Baker.
No, I don't think that's Troy Baker. No, I don't remember. He didn't play Batman in those. I don't think either.
I don't know.
But I know for a fact he's in Origins.
Batman.
One thing I will say while you look that up is with Joker's design in the show, it worked really well until for me the makeup, the saturation and brightness of the hair and the red, like the red lips and stuff. Both of those, I feel like they need to turn the shade down a bit for it to work in like suburban color setting. It just, for me, it's too busy and too like, I don't know, there's too much, like, it's like you turn up contrast on, like, a picture projector or something. It's too jarring of colors to really mesh well, with, like, the duller, like, school, outside, the
but I think that's the
sidewalk.
Personally, I think that's the point. Only, and I found who voices the Joker in those games. It's Anthony Ingruber, but I like it though because it reminds you that even though he's doing something so dull and mundane, that he's still the fucking Joker. Like, it reminds you that he's still, like, them dumping him back into the acid still did something. Like, it's not like he's just a normal dude and dresses like a clown, but rather is still, like, I personally...
I mean, that's fair.
I really like it.
For me, it's just for, like, my taste in visuals, it doesn't mesh as well as I'd like it to.
Fine.
But, I mean, that's, like, again, that's eye of the beholder type shit.
Yeah. But all
There's
the other...
shadow. Yeah. There's a shadow outside my window. I think it's the neighbors moving, but... It got really big, as in, it looked like it was almost coming toward my AC for a second.
Oh shit, someone's here to steal your AC.
I'm gonna get murdered, man.
No, don't
my
do that.
My fish are gonna watch me get murdered like Batman, seeing his parents get murdered.
Oh my god, and then they're gonna become vigilante
pearls.
fish.
The pearls!
The pearls.
Yeah, all of a sudden there's like a shit ton of beta fish coming after people in the streets.
Beta man. That just sounds like...
Oh no, the new beta male.
I know, yeah.
The humans are the beta male cucks.
Alright, I think we gotta wrap up because I am losing my ability to think.
Alright, I am going to transition us into talking about the comics then. We'll say goodbye to Liz, so that you can go to bed and get to work and do laundry and all that.
Yeah, I'm an adult, unfortunately. I can't
how are the cats, by the way? How are your cats?
My cats are doing great. I have to actually check right now if Louie came in from the outside. Don't at me, my mom lets them out. Look, if I had my druthers and owned the house, I'd be able to keep them in all the time. But they're both doing really great. Kip was fed 3 times today because he's a little...
Jesus.
He is so thin and small compared to his brother. Like Louis is chunky. Like, he's hefty. You pick him up and you feel like you're picking up a bowling ball. But he's not, like, fat. And then Kip is, like, really light and agile, but he eats constantly. But they're both doing very, very good. I have 2 cats, and I love them very much.
If he seems like and he might not be, but if he seems at all ever like unhealthily skinny,
like a thyroid issue?
Yeah, exactly, like an absorption issue.
That was a concern I had because we did have a cat that had I think she had hyperthyroidism, but that was when she was very, very old.
Yeah.
Whereas
it can crop up any time, really, but young cats, it's not super common. Like young dogs as well, it's not super common.
He's like, I don't think it would be a thyroid issue. My only, I mean, I can't diagnose, and I don't know that much about thyroidism in cats, but he doesn't seem to be otherwise, like, other than being a hungry little shit most of the time, like, his behavior is completely normal. Like, He's active. He sleeps him and his brother have very similar schedules. So, I think he's just a little dick. Is his situation?
he's a growing boy.
He's growing
probably
boy.
Not growing that much anymore comparatively.
He had a coccidia when he was a kitten.
Ooh,
like a little
nasty.
Like when he was like a month old or whatever, he had coccidia, and his brother got over it really quickly, but he had to get he had issues. I had to wipe his ass, okay? I wiped my cat's ass when I first got him, and he should be grateful because it was gross. He got poop everywhere.
Oh god!
But yeah,
having to wipe a dog that has diarrhea is something. I had
bro,
to learn.
when Teddy was throwing up bile before he passed away, that stuff was fucking disgusting.
And it smells. Bile smells real bad.
It smells so bad. It's black. Ugh.
Oh, it's black. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Well, he had pancreatic cancer, so
yeah,
it was a bad time. But
sweet
anyway,
man, I'm still sad that I didn't get to meet him.
Oh, you never met him?
I never met him in person.
I'm so sorry. He was such a sweet. He smelled bad though, so I mean, I guess.
Yeah, everyone you and Steph have always said he was a stinky boy.
Well, for a while he had rotted teeth, and my mom didn't do anything about it. And then she never took him to get groomed. And with double coated dogs, you have to get them groomed. No ifs, ands, or buts. And she's like, it's too expensive. I don't want to do it. And I'm like, you shouldn't have gotten a dog that requires those kinds of things.
Yeah.
That's the end of the story. Anyway.
Alright, we'll see you off. And welcome to the segment that totally wasn't done 2 days later. I don't know, but I think my voice probably will sound a bit higher than before, because we were doing that close to midnight. I'm now with different co-hosts. I'm with my beta Remy and the Corey Quintet. I'm also here with my beta Pomegranate and the Tetra 10, aka my fish who have taken over my life. The other two are in the other room because I need space in my room, which is essentially a hallway, and large heavy fish tanks kind of get in the way of those plans. So without further ado, I'm going to go on about the Harley Quinn Eat, Bang, Kill tour. So this was released after, I believe it was after season 2. And it basically carries on after the season 2 finale, where Ivy and Harley are experiencing the aftermath of professing love to each other, breaking off Kite Man and Ivy's wedding, all of that. One thing I really do want to say, obviously recommend reading the comics. I want to say that one of the huge limiting factors of the show as is, the actual show itself, is the animation. While, of course, there are parts where the animation's really good and creative, it's a comedic animated show meant for teens and adults, meaning it's not gonna always get the best budget. I feel like most things under that category don't. You have kind of your standouts, but usually they're the more dramatic ones. Comedies, not quite as much. And so you get, while the character models look really nice, and they themselves are very expressive of character, the actual faces and expressions they make can feel pretty static. And so one thing that the comic really does well, I think, is how emotive all of the characters are. Because even just looking at the cover image, which you can find easily online, you'll see that while using the same exact models, or I guess in more specifically 2D animation terms, it would be the same character model sheet. So giving all the angles and basically saying how a character should look with different extremes and everything. They're able to get so much like depth and feeling into the faces, which I really, really love. Like, that's one of my main things when it comes to animation, is even if it's like getting the minute details that can lead to a greater facial expression of emotion, or it's even being able to show those little little hints of emotion that somebody may have in a more grounded way, while also not revealing all their cards. I feel like animation does a really great job of that. One example would be a show like Arcane, which does a really good job, or really I'd say a lot of narrative-based video games now, because they use a mix of facial capture and hand-animated rigs. They are able to really get the minute details of every emotion, and I don't know, there's just something so amazing about that. And especially with 2D animation, it's all about not oh god, I can't think of the word. What's happening? My brain's melting. It's not about being always true to reality. You can go over the top and it will feel correct. You're already suspending disbelief in terms of you're watching moving 2D animated images, essentially. You're watching drawings come to life. And so having these bigger, wackier expressions or poses, things like that, it just fits. And so that's a big thing that I really like about the comic. I just rambled. Now that Liz is gone, I am off the rails. Okay, so with the comic, they now released the entirety of the comic into what they call Volume 1. I forget if I mentioned that already. I don't think I did. I think I talked to Liz about that separately. But this is actually written by T. Franklin, and the artists are Max Sarin and Eric Owen. All of them really, really well done. Layout, Derek Donovan. Colorist, Marissa Lewis. Letterer, Taylor Esposito. And collection cover artist, Max Sarin. And I don't know how people do it, where you have multiple people working on usually animated projects, or comics, where you have to redraw the same character in the same style over and over, but there are multiple people drawing somebody else's style. Like, I don't know, I find that incredible, how people are able to do that. They're able to replicate each other's style. But yeah, the posing, the colors, everything in this is super, super good. So the comic itself is not actually canon to the show. It's almost like an alternate version of, I'd say probably like what we've seen so far up to episode 7 of Harley Quinn. Just kind of, it's more focused on Harley and Ivy's relationship and how each character has their own hang-ups and flaws that they want to overcome because of the other person, but that's not always how it happens, you know? Sometimes things can't be solved purely out of wanting to do it for another person. You gotta learn to want to do it for yourself as well. And so we see that especially with Ivy in this one, where she kind of has to get over her tendency to distance people and take the blame for any emotional, physical harm that comes to them. So, obviously, after calling off Kite Man called off the wedding with Ivy, but it really was because Ivy was showing a lack of interest. So I think that's kind of where she takes it from. So she takes on that blame of ruining it and hurting people. And throughout it, you start seeing Harley, who, even though she likes kind of more spontaneous things, she loves Ivy, she loves all these pieces of her, even the flawed ones, she stands up for herself at some point, saying, you can't treat me like this. I've been trying to give you space, I've been doing what you want, but you've been distant, you've been rude, you've been cold. And I think, honestly, again, it's like with the TV show, it's showing that that it should be obvious. Apparently it's not. Queer relationships are just like straight relationships. That they aren't cotton candy, like bland side characters getting together and no one wanting to talk about it because there's nothing to talk about type thing. It's not the end-all be-all, being in a relationship as a queer person. That's the thing. And so I think exploring it in this kind of depth, both in the comic and the TV show, is really, really neat. It's hard to kind of go into the comic, because I feel like I just would end up saying everything that's in it, and I want people to be able to read it. But essentially, it hits the same beats. It kind of hits the same beats. There's a strip club scene, so there's that, if that tickles your fancy. But yeah, that's really all I can think of. Frank the Plant doesn't really do much in this one, but we do see, one thing I will say, you do see, Ivy kind of, if you remember in season, I believe it's 1, and then later too, where Dr. Psycho basically has all the characters go into Ivy's mind and then into Harley's mind, and explore around in their mind space. You have kind of a similar thing going on like that with Ivy kind of trying to confront her fears and trauma, and that's where Frank the Plant does show up there, just as kind of like a little spirit guide to Ivy, which is cute. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why I allotted so much time for this. There really isn't that much to say, besides just get it. It's really good. I guess Liz ain't here. I guess the best thing to say would be, oh, people are moving in. Hold on. People are moving in outside. Oh, okay. Alright. So the people who lived near me, please don't do this. Please don't do this to people. They left, when the 31st rolled around. We wake up. Outside, there's a barrier of just trash bags and old furniture, and it spans almost the entire width of the house along the sidewalk. I can't even, bring my bike out, cause it's blocking the one pathway to the sidewalk. We get a fine. Thank God the landlord, said he'll take it on, because it wasn't us. But just don't do that to people who live in the same building as you, especially if it's, like a two apartment, small house type thing, or duplex. It's just rude. Yeah, it just kind of, don't do that. What else to say, really? Oh, I will say a few things that are coming up. So, Liz and I are going to be doing Arcane as our season finale, and by season, it's really just for organizational purposes. It's not, we won't be taking a hiatus after that. I mean, we kind of end up taking hiatuses between every episode because we have bad scheduling, but it won't be like we're taking a long break. It's just because I feel like 11, 12-ish episodes is a good point to pause and say this is season 1 and then go on to a new season. We've also kind of figured out somewhat how to do this, and how to organize ourselves, the type of things we want to talk about. We kind of figured out our flow a bit more. So yeah, you'll have that to look forward to. That will drop, hopefully, and I swear to God, I'm going to make sure this happens within the next 2 to 2.5 weeks. I have classes starting, so that might make it a bit harder. But yes, that's the goal. Another episode that will come out, it will probably just be a mini-sode that I'll do alone. As many of you know already, I'm super into The Last of Us, and tomorrow, actually, the Last of Us, the first game's remake for the PS5 comes out. I have pre-ordered it because I'm a tool, and I'll play it, and I'm gonna give some, first impressions as well as just thoughts on it, and yeah. If you like that content, then you got that to look forward to, but otherwise you have Arcane coming up later. And then I guess I will do our little outro. So, my fish and I and Liz, say thank you for listening. If you listened this far, thanks for hanging in there for my, 12 minutes of just rambling bullshit, basically. And you can always find us on, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, various other platforms, as well as you can get to our direct link at rss.com/queerly. You can also find our website at www.queerlyapodcast.com, and there you can find access to all of the episodes, as well as bios, which I'm going to get Liz to write one, and you can find future topics, as well as some recommendations. We haven't really touched that in a little bit, but I'm going to update that soon. And you can also find a contact form, so it's called a contact form. It's really just, you want to throw us an opinion, a thought, or a suggestion for a topic, or even just a suggestion for audio quality. If you think it sounds kind of muffled, if you think it sounds kind of loud, all that kind of stuff. We really would appreciate the feedback. So you can find that on the website. You can also get in touch with us on Twitter at queerly_podcast. So feel free to tweet us there or follow us. There will be announcements for things like when an episode drops, as well as certain topics for new episodes, and other little things. We post sometimes about what's going on in the world, and we'll give updates if we do have to go on a hiatus for any reason at all. And I believe that's it. I did want to thank viewers from all over. We see you in Malta. We see you all over. And honestly, that's probably one of the more impressive things about this. Never thought we would get this far. Just me and Liz wanting to have our queer time of the week, but yeah, thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Stay healthy, stay safe.